6-0 in Pro League matches, 1-0 against Zerg. Fangirls screaming and going crazy. His OSL victory got him so many fans, especially after he was able to defeat Innovation. He's so young, and you could really equate this player. I feel he's really similar with the amount of fangirls he has and how much fame he was able to earn in such a quick period with Baby of old, who's also currently, right now, at a 6-0 win ratio. Yeah. The Baby of new and the Baby of old.
Very interesting parallel there. Maru, of course, he did take that one Zerg win against Dongri Gu, but now he's going to be up against this guy, SoulKey, Zerg player for SK Telecom. A cheer comes out already from the crowd. He's 2-2 so far in Pro League with a big record overall, but 0-1 versus Terran.
Yep, SoulKey fixing his monitor there, making sure it's set up correctly. Got his yellow keys. Looks like a nice keyboard he's got there. I like that keyboard. Looks good. SoulKey, a fierce Zerg opponent. Recent WCG champion, winning over Sora in Kunshan. You and I were there, commentated that final. Our map for this very first set will actually be Outboxer. The players are in the lobby. They're ready. Our countdown has already commenced. Maru looking a little bit stressed there in the booth.
Yeah, we see you, Maru. We see you over there in the corner. You're on TV. You can't hide.
Maru famous for playing without his shoes on. I'm sure he's taking them off now, just like you, Brendan.
I don't have my shoes on, actually. They're a bit cold.
I'm looking at your socks. They look fine. They look a little bit wet because you didn't wear the right shoes, but sometimes you got to take your shoes off.
Sometimes you just got to do the right thing.
Yep, that's the right choice. Looks like Maru is ready to go. Referee standing behind him there. He's already warming up with his mouse. He's definitely ready to hit that start button. SoulKey, on the other hand, looks confident as well. This will be the player who wins this takes the momentum for their teams. And in the lobby, a referee is asking me if we can start. And it looks like we are ready to go. Outboxer is the map. Maru up against SoulKey here at the 2014 Pro League. SK Telecom T1 against JINAIR Green Wings.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Huge cheers to start off this first game. Down in the bottom right, representing JINAIR Green Wings. He is undefeated so far with 6-0. It's Maru.
And his opponent, WCG champion. Solid Zerg player. It's SoulKey, now representing SK Telecom, formerly of Woongjin Stars. And Green Wings fans here. There's actually so many fangirls for Maru, and they always have these signs that use that kind of font, and lettering.
There's a whole group of them up there with those white and green sweaters. There's even a guy up there with green shoes.
Is he related to them?
I think he is. He's sitting right next to them. I would hope so.
Not a green shoe coincidence.
We have seen a bunch of neon-colored shoes out here in Korea.
Yeah, I wish I could pull those off. I mean, not off of their feet, but like I could pull off wearing those shoes.
You could try that too if you want, you know.
If I were up there, I'd pull them off. But first barracks started here for Maru. Likely to take a gas and do a Reaper expand to play it safe. And SoulKey goes out here for the scout. Maru, in the very beginning of his StarCraft 2 career, was known as a cheesy all-inner. And somebody who did never play late game. JINAIR Green Wing fans, the gloves say victory. Wow. They're like wearing the clothes that match the JINAIR Green Wings colors.
Yeah.
Very, very enthusiastic fans. I love to see that.
Someone even drew a picture of him over there. It's attached to a sign with a bunch of, a fan sign with a bunch of different words on it. You can't see from here.
Yeah. And we'll probably see them on camera again a little bit later. Hatchery first here gets dropped, and we will see the Reaper pop out in just a moment. Well, it's going to start to be built in just a moment, that is to say, and then it'll pop out. Pops up on the production tab, though. There it is.
Pop up there in the top left. Counts it as popping out.
Do you remember the internet was in such a terrible place? We had all these pop-ups coming up, and now we have pop-up blockers. I'm so happy about pop-up blockers, man. I hate pop-ups. It's the worst possible thing. I mean, you remember the days of like AOL Instant Messenger, And already back then you didn't have the chat windows put together in one window like they are now. And you would have, like, say, 7 windows of 7 different conversations going. So you have that in your taskbar. You have 7 different things. Then you go on terrible Internet Explorer, like even before IE6, and you go to one website, and suddenly 4 more pop-ups come out. They're making all sorts of noise. You're getting the on your instant messenger. You have all these windows. Oh, that was a terrible time with the internet, man. I'm so glad we're past that. Aren't you?
I'm beyond happy. Everything you just said there just made me cringe. I don't want to ever hear that again out of you.
Well, 6 Zerglings here are going to go and ward off this Reaper, and no micro here from Maru until the last second. He almost lost that Reaper. In fact, he still could lose it.
He's like doing perfect micro here.
Yeah, he's like on the edge of losing that Reaper with every time he turns around, but he was literally
like dancing with the Zerglings. Good micro as well out of SoulKey, putting that damaged Zergling back. He doesn't want to lose anything.
Yep, just losing only 1 Zergling in total. A few Marines being, I almost said chrono boosting. Getting reactored out here. SoulKey predicting where that Reaper would go. The Queen is marauding around as well, ready to get that smackdown. 1 Overlord taking some hits, but he will switch the reactor and start to produce Hellions here, and we'll go into Banshees. I would love to see mech from Maru. He's one of the players to mech first in Terran versus Zerg consistently in televised matches, and we already saw Flash do it well yesterday.
Yeah, I believe, if I'm not incorrect, I think Flash actually did it on this map as well. But that mech play against Zerg, very, very strong. Maru looking like he wants to try starting that just now. He's getting those 2 Hellions out, as well as the Banshee.
The Roach Warren is complete, and this could be an aggressive timing coming out here for SoulKey. Let's see how many Roaches he makes. He goes up to 5, and that's way more than he needs just for Hellions, so he's definitely going to be aggressive here. 6. And he will probably go up to about 9. If he goes any more than that, he's all in, basically. Cloak is being researched right now for Maru, and without a lair, Cloak is going to be very difficult to deal with. But he's not going to be able to use it to attack. He's going to actually have to use the Banshee to defend. He does not see the Roaches. They're going around the south side. He's sending his Hellions and those Reapers to the north, the opposite direction. If he can catch wind of this, though, it'll give him so much more time to repair. He has no idea, though.
Yeah, he does not know about these Roaches at all. He's just poking at that front. He sees everything as normal. He just sees the Queen, and he's like, okay, I can sit here for a bit. Gonna wait, get those continuous Hellions out, as well as that Banshee. I think the Cloak was canceled.
Yeah, I think so, too. He also was able to identify that his opponent is going for some sort of aggression, and now he sees it directly up here at the front. He's trying to finish his wall here, losing 2 SCVs right away. The Hellions coming back, and Maru has to pull his SCVs off the line. He's going to want to wall up here tight so the Roaches can't get inside, and he does. More Hellions being rallied out here. He may actually want to consider starting Widowmine production after that just to get some Widowmine shots off, but he's lost all mining at his natural here. The problem really for SoulKey is that with Banshees out on the map, it's so difficult to actually do a critical amount of damage with this. He's already transitioning at home, going into drones, adding additional Queens. He gets the lair up.
Yeah, right after he got all these Roaches out, he started drones again. I think he just wanted to put out a bit of pressure, try to get some SCV kills, but it didn't get much. I mean, the Banshee just doing so much damage, so helpful.
Plus, the third commander's going up, and there are the armories. And SoulKey going into... he goes from 2 base pressure step 1 to 2 base pressure step 2. And she sneaked her way onto camera. She's like, that Baneling is not as attractive as me on camera. The Baneling plushies are so cute.
Yeah, even the drawings of those are also very cute. This Reaper is going to come in here. He's not going to be able to stop this just now. Maru's going to get a good look at everything. Sees the Spire, sees the Roachmorn, of course.
Yep. We'll lose the Reaper, but well worth it to see what was going on. Because now Maru knows that he needs to get a Thor out very quickly because it's the fastest Spire that he's up against. He's actually going to fight here with his Hellions. If the Queen comes over, he's going to have to move the Banshee away, but he could poke away at those Zerglings with his Hellions and then use the Banshee to help against the Roaches. Additional factories being added here right now, and Maru in a very good place because he defended that attack so handily. He now has his 3rd base up. He's going to kill these rocks, meaning the Zerg player taking a 4th base is going to be a little bit tougher. He's going to actually have to kill those rocks to go up to the 4th base he'd like to secure. He's even going to kill the rocks on the left side as well. So he's basically saying, 4th base for you, got to kill some rocks.
Yeah, he's thinking way far ahead. He just wants to reduce the time. He wants to make sure that that comes out as late as possible. He's going to force a cancel here as well.
Very nicely done. And now the Viking coming to help out. Going to try to kill an Overlord here, just to not only eliminate vision, but to try to supply block his opponent. He could actually sneak around the south of the Overlord and kill it. Looks like he's considering that. First Thor is on the way. 1-1 upgrades as well. Maru not missing a beat with that, and also getting his turrets up because he knows, scouting that Spire timing, that this is one way that SoulKey could get ahead of him, is just coming in and doing economic damage and catching him with his pants down while he doesn't have that anti-air ready.
Yeah, he wants to make sure he's 100% ready for that. He did just drop that, actually, that starport over there with the tech lab. I was looking to see exactly what add-on that was. These Mews are going to come over here to this third that just got dropped.
Yeah, a little bit overzealous almost, arguably, at the third base here. Vikings are going to help zone this until the Thor is out, but he's not going to be able to mine from this. And in fact, he wants to run those SCVs away. Definitely getting a little bit too excited about the third base there. Korean commentators are as well.
Yeah. The third base is going to drop again, but these Mews are going to come into the main. He's got to have those Vikings in position. He also has the Thor. He's going to ward this off for now. He even gets a Muta.
This is something that, we had a lot of mech play, not only yesterday, but also in Code, and Calvin and I talked about this quite a bit. When you're just barely starting to get your Thors out, you have to use those Vikings for zoning purposes, and that's exactly what we see Maru doing right now. Just making sure the Mulas can't get close enough to those SCVs, and then if they try to commit to killing the Vikings, the Thors are there for the damage. Thor's having so much range. Now even adding a few Widow Mines in, because he knows the production of that's going to be quick, and that can actually devastate a pack of Mulas. So,
yeah, if SoulKey is not aware of that, could be huge damage there. See tanks coming out as well as a Raven.
Ooh, the Raven. That could be so useful for so many different things. Most notably, point defense drone, but also later on in the game, Secret Missile, and for clearing up creep tumors if Maru starts to be aggressive, like we saw Flash do yesterday. Being a mech player in the past seemed to mean that it's passive, slow play. As we saw from Flash just yesterday, man, it doesn't have to be. It could be an aggressive, constant pressure play.
Yeah, Flash on this map, he was moving up to that north fourth base, canceling that, putting on the aggression at nearly 150 supply. These Hellions are going to come in here. These drones got to move away. They can line up here and do huge damage.
Here we go. The drone's lining up. Nice splits there at the last second by SoulKey, but he's still going to take some damage. The Mulus a little bit indecisive. Now Hellions putting into the main base. Does save a lot of those drones, and not the best control here at the last second by Maru, but he will get a few more Harvesters. And he's trading those Hellions, which against the Mutalisk and against the Roaches are not going to be too useful. Otherwise, does get in total 19 worker kills. And now he's ready to move across the map and do some ground pressure. He has enough turrets set up at home. He's not really worried about the Mutalisk. He's got a lot of production here as well. And this is a scary moment for SoulKey. He has to be able to ward this off. He's trying to invest all of his minerals into those Swarm Hosts, which are going to give him free units for a while. But, oh man, this is not going to be a good trade for those Zerglings. They died basically without any damage done.
Yeah, we're going to have to see exactly how SoulKey tries to ward this off. Maru getting into position. He has a bunch of these tanks as well as Thors and a ton of Hellbats.
Yep, he wants to get the Thor shots off on those Mutas. Point defense stroke could also help against the Locusts here. We'll decide where he wants to put it, or we'll see where he decides where he wants to put it, I should say. We're not going to decide. I don't have any control over this. Yeah, Roach is here getting a little bit overzealous, taking some shots. And if he can take out this hatchery, that would be huge. Scanning going down here, trying to identify what he's up against. And he's all the way on top of that hatchery now, doing so much damage to the Banshees as well. And a counterattack is on here, but there are a few siege tanks set up back at home for Maru, so he should be able to ward this off, and so much damage being done. The fourth base for SoulKey, which isn't even being used right now, is where he evacuates a lot of his drones.
Yeah, at least he was able to get that fourth base up. This hatchery is going to go down, and there's nothing to defend this here besides that. He's going to have to move those away fast.
Yeah, the Widow Mine's doing some damage here to try to help out, but didn't have his siege tanks as close as he would have liked to, so he loses a few depots, but doesn't lose really any Harvesters, and ends up okay. A bit forgetful with two of those siege tanks, but the hatchery to the north is dead. And actually a crazy hatchery that SoulKey's taken down here at the 7 o'clock base. He really wants to get that up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's right next to the army of Maru that just went home. He's definitely going to have to cancel this.
Maru's going to literally move over here. And look at this with the Raven. He has these Swarm Hosts out of position, could take out a bunch of them.
Yep. Point defense run going down to protect his siege tanks. And, oh man, is this looking scary right now for SoulKey. He's going to have to cancel this hatchery. Easy peasy. On the other hand, another counterattack, this time coming from the right side. There's no Thors here. A few siege tanks being picked off by Mutas, and SoulKey trying to get an edge here. Going to start eliminating some of these depots. Maru, for now, holding strong over here at his opponent's old fourth base. Yeah, and he needs to defend.
Maru needs to defend this. He doesn't have much. He has these two siege tanks as well as that one Thor in the Viking, but he's losing a bunch of those SCVs. He's going to lose this over here with the Mutas as well. He is sieging onto this fourth base over here, which is big.
Yep. But I'm really concerned about SoulKey's economy. If he doesn't hold this base, he will hold it. he lost a lot of roaches in that counterattack, and it's just because Maru had those Thors rallied out, and Thors can do so much against a small number of roaches. If you have a lot more than what SoulKey had there, Thors are not going to cut it. But just a few Thors here is going to help push the Mutalisk away. He's got enough siege tanks to push back the Locust. The Raven being here as well is really scary because he might actually lose those because he does get vision. Goodbye, Swarmhost. So now that Hatchery getting low and Maru going for another attack on the right side, identifies the Mutalisk, and SoulKey is just being shut down literally left and right on the left side of the map and on the right side of the map.
Yeah, these Locusts are going to continue coming in, but this fourth base is sieged. I mean, you can barely even call the fourth base. This Hatchery over here just getting up, and this attack by Maru over here at the north is going to be really scary as well. It's going to be hard to tell whether or not he can hold this off. He's going to come in here with a bunch of roaches and the Mutas to try to cut this off.
It definitely will be enough to hold. It looks like here with the Thor going down, taking a lot of hits there. And if he magic boxes it and then goes for those siege tanks, he should be able to save it, but his scan goes down. Just doesn't have enough firepower to force the cancel. Now the Swarmhosts have done what they needed to do. He drops another wave of Locusts. Now he's going to send them on the other side of the map to try to push those siege tanks back, but it's a bit too late. He loses the 9 o'clock Hatchery. Now Mula is chasing down these siege tanks. A back and forth battle, but the economy of SoulKey has never been where he's wanted it to be. He's always been shut down.
Yeah, he just does not have that gas. As you guys see up there, he has a ton of minerals, but only 150 gas. Whereas Maru's sitting pretty, getting those upgrades up. He's had 3 bases pretty secure for a while. There was a bunch of roach harass and counterattacks here, but he was able to keep his economy up pretty well. Another big attack moving across the map. We have another counterattack. Well, just a bunch of Locusts down here.
Bunch of Locusts come down here and just barely not able to get their massive amount of damage done because they did time out. But this counterattack is going to be very permanent. And here we go. Siege tanks sieging up this base again. Point defense drone to help out those Hellbats. Now this base will likely go down. All it needs is a few more shots of those siege tanks. This counterattack on the other hand is massive. Way too many Mulas for him to handle. He's trying to make turrets right now. He loses the command center. And there's no Thors nearby. Only siege tanks and a few missile turrets. So the Mulas have free reign over these siege tanks, and Maru is losing a lot of supplies, losing a lot of very expensive units here.
Yeah, he was able to take out that third again, but he did lose the third of his own. He has that other base there at the top right. He had to bring back his whole force, though, relieving a lot of pressure on SoulKey. This one also goes down. So many Hatcheries killed so far by Maru.
I saw this from Flash yesterday. Tanks in tank mode do a lot of damage very quickly to single targets, especially a single target like a Hatchery. So if you're able to get 2-3 siege tanks next to a Hatchery that's building with no defense, nothing nearby, you can kill the hatch. We'll lose 2 siege tanks for it. And Maru, without this fourth base, would be in a horrible spot because not only did he lose his third, but he's losing so many expensive units for these trades against free units, the Locusts. But because he was able to eliminate that base at the top, and he still has this base up, which was never scouted, by the way. That's why the Mulas are flying over missile turrets here because he didn't know they were there. He would be in a terrible spot. He's going to try to kill this hatch. The Roaches know that they can't attack into that planetary. These siege tanks are up just in time, and SoulKey is desperately trying to find an angle, but he can't find one.
Yeah, he's having a really hard time. He's trying to get that fourth base up desperately. You could basically say he's only been on 3 mining bases this entire game. Just Maru all over the map, continuing to take out so many hatcheries. He's getting a bunch of reinforcements back in space. Like you mentioned, SoulKey did not know about this third base, and it's so big. Flying his mutas even over there, losing a bunch of them.
I know a lot of you guys are interested to see what I want to see, which is the production tab. I'm sure we'll have that back in just a moment because I want to see what is being built right now in total for Lucas players compositionally. How are they going forward here? Because the real hero of this game, the one most useful unit in the entire game for both players, put them both together, is that one Raven. It's been able to clear a creep. It's given vision of those swarm hosts. It's actually been able to deny swarm host attacks. The point defense drone against Locust has saved so many siege tanks, so many Hellbats. And he just keeps using it every time he attacks across the map. He has that point defense drone to help out. And I want to see how much he's committing to siege tanks, how many Thors he wants to make right now. This massive wave of Thors plus that group of siege tanks is going to allow him to kill this base. But meanwhile, back at home, he doesn't have enough to defend against the Mutalisk. The Roach is on the ground, tanking the damage here. And the Mutalisk will eliminate all of those missile turrets. It means the Roaches can just walk away as the Mutalisk finish off this planetary. Yep. And he sends units over to save it. It's just too late.
Maru was prepared at the third base, but SoulKey, using the map to his advantage, going right down the middle, was able to take this out. Even if he loses a bunch of units, that takes away a big base out of Maru.
1 siege tank and 1 Hellbat is all he leaves to kill this base. Roach count here way too small to deal with these Thors, so we will lose the majority of them. But look at the supply. Maru losing that base, his economy is shut down again. This base will be saved by this flock of Mutalisk, and he's gone up to 21 mutas here. This is why I really want to see that production tab, because it's really important to note that a Zerg player, one of the ways of beating mech is to force a lopsided composition and then go into a heavy commitment into one group of units. 28 meters now on the map, but there are 7 Thors. That's enough Thor firepower to deal with the Mutalisk. It's just about positioning. Now he sends his whole army to kill this hatchery, which he will get, but the counterattacks here with the Mutalisks are just a big problem.
It's
Crowd's
just too
going
many
crazy.
units. It's too many Mutalisks right now. He's forced to pull back his whole army. SoulKey is getting his own 4th base up right now, even 5th base, and now these Mutalisks are going to take out another command center here. It's just not enough.
Maru's face right now, look at it, he's desperately trying to figure out how he can come back in this game. He's lost a ton of his infrastructure. He's losing his bases. And I think this may be checkmate for him. Draws point defense from desperately here. Had he left some Thors at home, this would not be a problem. His big critical mistake was moving his entire mech army again to kill a hatchery that had like less than 100 hit points. He didn't need to bring that whole group of units over there, and now he's paying for it. Thor shot's not able to finish these Mutalisks off. More swarm hosts coming over to the bottom to help push this ground army back. And he's lost too much production, he's lost too much economy, and SoulKey has essentially won this game already.
Yeah, like we mentioned before, Maru just not in position to hold off all of these Muta aggression attacks, and he just allowed SoulKey to keep on building these hatcheries and get this big Mutalisk count up. And by this time, Maru's still just struggling barely to get a 3rd base. He's not going to get this one. Is even almost mined out. He's not going to be able to get this one. SoulKey's sitting comfortably now on 5 bases, and all of these tanks now going to go down to a bunch of these Mutalisks.
Yeah, if Thor's got a few more shots off, would have been a different story, but sadly they did not. The Mutalisks had the +1 carapace, which it's applied to each of the Force anti-air cannons. And this is Maru actually falling apart. His win streak ends here. SoulKey with some solid play, especially against the mobile mech army that we saw from Maru, constantly attacking left and right sides of the map. He just couldn't keep 4 bases up long enough to remax, and the Locusts really wore him down because they don't cost money. They only cost time. And he just keeps sending wave after wave, burning Maru's army down. That one Raven he had was so useful. The Maru down in supply now. He is going to lose his command center without a perfect repair, and even with the repair, it doesn't matter. Loses the command center, and that is game. Maru is basically just trying to figure out whether he wants to type his GG in capital letters or lowercase, because there's no way he's coming back here. His face shows it. The supply counts show it. The map shows it. This command center will go down. The main orbital may also fall if he gets targeted.
Yeah, Maru letting out huge sides in the booth. He knows this is over, but he's just barely trying to. You know, he's on such a big winning streak right now. He's going to fall behind TY now. He's going to go down to 6-1. And he wanted to take this first one for JINAIR, but he's unfortunately not going to do it. SoulKey just playing too well, responding so well to this really mobile mech play.
And here we go. The Mutalisk in here going to kill the second to last command center he has left. He goes for it. Tries not to stack up his Mutalisk too much. As you can see, the Thors are still a very formidable opponent, but he's just got a 2nd Spire completed. He's already got the +2 Carapace nearly completed. I mean, the game is SoulKey's to play with. I mean, like a coyote playing with a dead mouse. There's nothing that Maru can do except sit and hope for a mistake of SoulKey, and that's why SoulKey is not being over-aggressive. That's why he's not making mistakes. He's getting a greater Spire because he knows that with Broodlords, he can start sieging this base up a little bit more directly. And he still has those Locusts coming across, wearing down that command center's hit points, forcing repairs, which Maru can't afford right now. And it couldn't be worse right now for Maru. He's trying to resecure this base. He brings the Thors over here, knowing that Mutalisk, if they found that command center, would lay waste to it in seconds.
Yeah, you got to hand it to Maru. At least he's trying his hardest. But, I mean, it's just too many. Look at all the Mutas he has here right now, and only one Thor. Another one over here. He's going to take out really quick in Max and boxing these. He's going to come over here and take out this one as well.
Auto turret going down. That's how desperate Maru is right now. He's got 117 supply of mech. But there's just way too much. One Mutalisk targeted by the Seeker Missile. It just goes away from the group, dodges it. Armory's now under fire. If he can eliminate both armories, that means no more Thors. Decides to fight the Ravens and the Thors instead. Magic boxing on top of them. And that is going to be the end for Maru here. He's got no bank. He's got no money. He's trying to establish that 4th base. These Mutalisks, on the other hand, can't stick around too long.
They don't want to stick around too long, but you guys see on that production tab, 15 more coming around. It's just too much. GG is called.
The win streak of Maru ends, and SoulKey winning a Zerg versus Terran against mech, something we did not see a Zerg accomplish yesterday. And there's that SoulKey grin.
Yeah, he's got to be content with himself. Able to pick off one of these big players who is continuing with that win streak. No longer has a win streak. A little thumbs up there to the crowd. Not really wholeheartedly, though.
once you lose control of your bases as a Magnet Terran against a Zerg, you're not able to hold off against either Road Bys or Muta Flybys, Locust from the Swarmos. If you can't hold on to your bases, you're starting to lose them, or you're starting to have to mass repair them or lift them, then you've lost the game, because you need that economy to rebuild your very expensive mech units. Maru gets patted on the head there. His teammates telling him, hey, you know, that was a tough game. You lost it, but we're going to be okay here. Nicely played.
It seems, though, even like you guys can see on their faces there for JINAIR, you know, they're not down and out. They don't feel like, oh, man, we lost our first big one with Maru. We expected him to take it. No, they're just like, oh, man, you played a really good game. You know, SoulKey just played really, really well. Don't worry about it. We're going to pick you up. We're going to try to win this. Here we go.
You know, JINAIR Green Wings feels like this team that's got this family element to it.